which played in front of the week 1 screenings of Avatar Fire and Ash and then released on YouTube on December 23rd, 2025, focuses on Steve Rogers. Our initial video on this is right here. But this Steve Rogers-centric teaser, which some online have compared to the B-roll for a Skyrizi commercial, shows Steve driving his 1950 Triumph T100 down a rural road past a farm windmill. Now, the official screenplay for Avengers Endgame said that he and Peggy's house was in a neighborhood of Washington, D.C., 1949. And we did see another car passing that house in the Endgame shot, suggesting that it wasn't some podunk in the middle of nowhere place. But I gotta say, this farm does look pretty far outside of the district. And one detail I did not spot was this secondary set of tire tracks that goes out into the field on the left, like some other car chaotically sped toward or away from where Steve is now headed. Once he goes inside, Steve pulls out his blue Captain America uniform, yes, the one he was wearing at the beginning of his return journey at the end of Avengers Endgame to return all the Infinity Stones and Mjolnir to the places and times from which they were taken during the time heist, all to prevent the dangerous disruptions to the time stream that the Ancient One warned Bruce Banner about.
The Infinity Stones create what you experience as the flow of time. Remove one of the stones, and that flow splits. Now, this may benefit your reality, but my new one, not so much. In this new branch reality, without our chief weapon against the forces of darkness, our world would be overrun. Millions would suffer.
But Steve puts this suit in a chest as if he's retiring his role as Cap forever as he faces fatherhood. Steve now rocks this sleeping baby. Now, I spend so much time theorizing about why all these teasers center around parenthood and the threat to the children that I didn't really get to who this baby is. Steve Rogers and Peggy Carter, in most of the history of Marvel lore, never get to have a kid. Across the multiverse, Steve Rogers has kids with other characters. There's Sarah Rogers, aka Crusader, Steve's daughter with Rogue in the 1985 Secret Wars. There's various what-if storylines that led to Steve and Wanda having twins. Steve and Natasha in the animated film The Next Avengers, Heroes of Tomorrow, have a son named James Rogers, raised in secret by Tony Stark after they died. But the only example we have of Steve and Peggy's child is Sharon Rogers, a character from Marvel Future Fight, introduced in 2016. He wears a headpiece not unlike the tiara of Scarlet Witch. But something tells me that Avengers Doomsday ain't gonna name this baby Sharon, maybe because it would bring some awkward attention to the fact that this same character of Steve Rogers hooked up with Peggy's descendant of Sharon Carter. Also, this baby is dressed in blue, and there is a blue tub in the background. And in 1949, in rural America, heteronormative standards would make it a bit uncommon to dress a baby girl in blue. So I'm gonna guess this is a boy. And I'm also thinking that this is just a very different character that the Doomsday script is introducing. Like, I've seen some theories out there that this kid could be a version of Brian Braddock, Captain Britain, but I don't know about that because A, this kid is in America right now. He's not gonna have a British accent despite who his mama is. And in Marvel Comics, Brian Braddock was born to Lord James and Lady Elizabeth Braddock, and he's a younger twin brother of the mutant Psylocke. But I will give you this, maybe, just maybe, all of these kids that are being taken might have a shared mutant status, an X gene. In the day I visited Agbo, they did let me write a joke theory on their whiteboard.
Okay, after seeing the teaser for Avengers Doomsday, here is my theory that I've written on, the official production office's board. Theory, Steve's baby will open their eyes and say, "Daddy is doomed," and then transform into Robert Downey Jr. and slap Steve across the face. I'm pretty sure that's what was being set up there.
And hey, their official social account did share me doing this, saying it was their favorite theory. So, theory time! Maybe this baby could actually become the multiversally loose Victor Von Doom, played by Robert Downey Jr. in this movie. This could be his origin story. He could be a baby who is never supposed to be born, a baby whose whole universe is a mistake, a universe formed by Steve Rogers selfishly staying behind in 1949, a universe that gets devoured in an incursion that young Victor somehow uses his technological prowess to escape. Maybe even the quantum tech that he inherited from his father. Hey, maybe even the focus on Steve's motorcycle, maker of Triumph, and a synonym of Triumph is victory. Maybe
so many different theories.
His kid's name is Victor. Yeah, it's a reach theory, the first of many I'm gonna throw out there to give our 2026 What We Got Wrong video lots of fodder. Now, the second teaser played in
so that I may fight once more, defeat one more enemy, and return home to her, not as a warrior, but as warmth, to teach her not battle, stillness, the kind I never knew. Please heed my words.
So before, in this video, I noted that Thor is carrying Stormbreaker here. He's not carrying the reassembled version of Mjolnir that he had at the end of Thor Love and Thunder. It was Love who carried Stormbreaker into that final battle, so it suggests that that girl was taken. Now, why is Thor's hair short again? Thor's hair was only buzzed as a consequence of being brought to Sakaar in Thor Ragnarok as a warrior fighting in the Grandmaster's arena, a gladiator haircut given to him by Stan Lee. But he continued to rock that cut in Infinity War, but then 5 years later in Endgame, and after that in Thor Love and Thunder, he was back to the long locks. I don't know, maybe you could say the short hair is Thor's god killer look, especially when he's facing this new enemy he references who might have cured Thanos. But now I'm trying to figure out what Love's stuffed animal is. Is it supposed to be the original version for Father Gore? Some are saying it looks like a unicorn, which could be from that planet full of unicorns that Thor told Jane Foster about in What If Season 1 Episode 7? Or is that stuffed animal, you guessed it, a form of Doctor Doom that took this girl out of her bed? Kidding about that one. Easily the best
like a unicorn? What the
was
fuck?
the
That looked
X-Men
like a
one
unicorn?
that played in week 3 of Avatar Fire and Ash screenings and uploaded to YouTube
That
on
does
January
not.
6, 2026.
Okay.
My initial video about this trailer is here. But I found a lot of new details in this teaser alone. First off, the X-Mansion isn't exactly the parts of the estate that we've seen in past X-Men movies. Specifically, we are in a larger room with 2 spiral staircases and various round columns containing books that appears to be part of a library or archives. And in the distance of this room, we see a stained glass window with what I assume is the Xavier family crest with the blue X, which is where Charles likely derived the X-Men logo. But you
I
can also
didn't
see this
pick that.
Latin motto, Fiat Lux Fiat Vis, or let there be light, let there be strength. Let there be light being the first word spoken by God the Creator in the book of Genesis to breathe existence into the universe, followed by a prayer that
That's
mankind,
crazy. I
or I
just
suppose
read that.
mutant kind, would have the strength to survive. In my past video, I made a big stink about this chess piece, claiming it was a queen and thus a Scarlet Witch clue. No, I was wrong. It's definitely a king, and the piece to the left of it is a rook. It's the Black King that levitates here, and some of you also came after me for speculating that if this piece was not metal, it would have to be Charles levitating it with telekinesis, some saying that Charles only has telepathy and mind control, not telekinesis, but in fact, Charles Xavier does have minor amounts of telekinesis as well in the comics. It just wasn't as pronounced in the films, but I always assumed in the films he was using telekinesis to move his chair. But anyway, I'm going to assume that all of these chess pieces have metal, and it's just kind of a callback to the ending of 2006's X-Men The Last Stand when Magneto showed his powers were returning by moving the chess piece. But specifically, the Black King is in checkmate here. Looks like the Black King is in B2 with the metal rook in A2, and that looks like a black rook, the King's rook, in C1, and a pesky metal knight is over there in D2. So if the Black King were to try to take the rook, it's still checkmate because the metal pawn or bishop could take it. The Black King can't move forward to B3 because of that pesky knight, can't move back to B1 because of that knight, and then its own pieces block it off to any diagonal moves into the C column. So really the Black King is being levitated here to topple it, to signal an acceptance of checkmate. I go into this because we did break down the exact chessboard configuration in our breakdown of the first X-Men film that we did in 2024, so I just like to do this whenever we can. I just love the exchange of dialogue between Charles and Eric here.
Death comes for us all. That's all I know for sure. The question isn't, are you prepared to die? The question is, who will you be when you close your eyes?
These two
X-Men.
old friends clasp hands, both looking worse for wear. Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. This past year was a lot. If you're coming into 2026
Cutscene
feeling a little
right
heavy
here.
or overwhelmed, or feeling overwhelmed, insight and emotional ground you would otherwise, BetterHelp does what you're looking for. BetterHelp uses right. You can switch with what you need in their diverse, comfortable, and fits your schedule. 72%/new Rockstars for 10% off your first month, and let BetterHelp support you in feeling lighter in 2026. Meanwhile, Cyclops is outside fighting Sentinels, and I gotta keep saying that this
I
is
like how
the
you
best
just, like,
Cyclops
goes
has
right
ever
back
looked in live
to the
action.
video.
Just the intensity that James Marsden brings here. You'll notice there is a hint of silver metal in Cyclops' eyepiece as he removes it, which some are trying to compare to the futury sunglasses that Scott is seen wearing in the final scene of X-Men Days of Future Past. And while we do see a giant Sentinel stomping behind him in the background on the left, I believe that is another Sentinel that we see standing in the background on the far right, and I think between that Sentinel and Scott in the center, that is a severed Sentinel head lying on the ground more immediately to his right. Now, when asked about Cyclops' look recently in an interview with Power of X-Men on Instagram, Chris Claremont, the amazing comics writer, arguably most responsible for the best X-Men storylines in the 1980s, weighed in on this teaser and suggested that Famke Janssen, Jean Grey, could return in Doomsday as well.
What a difference a costume makes.
Yeah, what do you think of the Doomsday teaser with Cyclops?
Well, she is coming back. I was so excited. They already said that she's coming back. Yeah. So get the original Phoenix. Yeah. She's gonna kick major ass. Hopefully she's not evil though, right? Like, I don't know if she's going to be on Doom's side or like the good side. You know, we shall see. Cause she's like powerful as fuck, like, duh.
This books in real life, they don't register as brilliantly as they do in print. I mean,
Yeah.
Jim's designs are gorgeous on the page, and the thing I find most wonderful about it is the bringing back
Bringing back James Marsden?
the original James
Yep.
Marsden. No, they're bringing back the original cast, including Famke.
Now, for what it's worth, at a Huntsville Fan Expo last year,
She's coming
Claremont
back.
also made some small headlines.
She said
claiming
that she
all kinds
wasn't
of stuff
coming
that
back.
were going to come up in Doomsday, including that Robert Downey Jr. would be playing several
But then they
characters
just confirmed.
beyond Doom, including a version of Iron Man, that Chris Evans would be playing an evil Captain Hydra version of Steve Rogers, that Elizabeth Olsen would be playing a good version of Scarlet Witch, and that Psylocke would be coming back and Wolverine would kill someone very important. All of this despite Famke Janssen and Elizabeth Olsen insisting convincingly that they would not be returning. And I will say that we have seen other comics writers like Jim Starlin
Like them
claiming things about MCU films like
versus
Young
each
Thanos
other?
coming up in
Oh my
Eternals
God.
that never ended up in the film. Still, I do think that Scott
Oh my
looks
God,
distraught
epic.
enough that he is fighting
Scarlet Witch
for or avenging
versus
a very close family member
Phoenix.
like Jean Grey or one of their kids, Nathan Summers, aka Cable, or Rachel Summers. Now, we should also note that there are other Fox X-Men confirmed for this movie, including Kelsey Grammer as Beast, Alan Cumming as Nightcrawler, and Rebecca Romaine as Mystique. None of them appear here. So does that mean that they go down in this battle? Well, we know they're gonna have more to do in this movie. Like Alan Cumming confirmed that he has a fight scene with Pedro Pascal.
And I'm sort of learning these fights. I'm like, what? Who am I fighting with? I said, you're hitting Pedro Pascal against the head.
And it sounds like this is a scene that Kelsey Grammer indicated that he was also a part of.
I really had a great time with the new guy from Fantastic Four.
Oh, Pedro.
Pedro, yeah, Pedro.
Pedro Pascal.
Thanks, Pedro, wonderful. I mean, I really enjoyed hanging out.
But this movie is about to like break records.
So,
I mean, we get the iconic original.
So I
X-Men
wonder if
back.
the way the X-Men get out of this jam with the Sentinels is a rescue from the
'Cause last
Fantastic
time we
Four,
seen
coming
them,
from the
it was
828 universe
in
directly
one of
to
the
the
other
10005
X-Men
universe.
movies.
And that brings us to the final teaser, which was first attached to the week 4
Which has
screenings
still been
of
a
Avatar
minute. That's
Fire
been
and Ash,
like-
and then uploaded to YouTube this week. In
like
my
10
first
years
video, I explained how
now.
Shuri's exact words suggest her nephew, Prince T'Challa, aka Toussaint, T'Challa's son, was also taken from her life.
I've lost everyone that matters to me.
So I
But
haven't
think my
seen this
favorite
trailer
detail
yet.
from this trailer is how Shuri and M'Baku's armor have been upgraded to include some aquamarine colored pieces of Talokan vibranium. And I think Namor's high collar is woven with black Wakandan vibranium. They're sharing resources. And now that we're seeing it clearly, that is definitely one of the pyramids of Talokan, along with some Talokanil stonework on the wall of the structure that Namor is in, the same structure that we saw as the Talokanil city that Shuri and Namor visited in Black Panther Wakanda Forever, but now it has been relocated to this arid, windswept desert.
wow.
Yes, Talokan used to be on the ocean floor, somewhere
Right,
off the
like,
coast
they
of
used
the
to be,
Yucatan
like,
Peninsula in
underwater.
the Atlantic Ocean. So now this would confirm that either this was all pruned and relocated to the void by Dr. Doom to form his future battle world, or we're looking at the ocean of the 616 universe that has been drained or scorched to evaporate the salt water, suffered some environmental disaster due to an incursion perhaps. The Talokanil need water to survive, and their water-breathing masks are not designed to last forever, so this is a direct assault on them. They are in a post-apocalyptic
Right.
scenario.
So
But
he's
now, looking
pissed.
at these teasers together, I do wonder, while we do see Ben Grimm the Thing, why don't we see the other three members of the Fantastic Four? And who is Shuri doing the Wakanda Forever salute to in the final part of this trailer? Because doesn't it look like she's returning a salute from someone else who first gave it to her? Which leads us to ask, who of these arriving visitors, A, would even know that salute, and B, feel comfortable initiating it?
Oh, little Black Panther. Oh,
Wakanda forever.
maybe just Wakanda for the day. And maybe just keep your mask on, all right?
But also, I've theorized this before. I think it is
I
possible that
love
it
that
is
show.
not
Oh
just
my
the
God.
Fantastic Four on that ship when it gets to Earth, because I think the surviving X-Men are with them. And that could include a character that Marvel is closely guarding as a secret for this movie, someone who is also denied being in the movie, but someone who I think this movie really needs, someone who could really help with the current environmental situation on Earth, someone with a royal lineage that Shuri would respect, and someone that
Who?
Thor even mentioned in his teaser. If you listen closely.
Storm?
A life untouched by the storm.
Yes,
Storm!
Aurora Monroe descends from Kenyan royalty. Could Halle Berry's Storm be part of this welcome
She
party?
has
Now,
to
I did
be.
cover
Why
the
would she
mysterious
not
runes
be?
around the logo
Oh
and
my
what I
God.
think they are in this video. And then there are the strange alphanumeric codes that flash on screen from the release date to the countdown clock. A lot of you guys have been obsessing over these. For the first one, it flashes briefly to 1E:24::02020. For the second
I've
teaser,
never
it
seen that
briefly
shit.
flashes to 1E:17BER:020.
Are they talking about in December?
And for the third, it's 1E:11BER:02020. You'll notice a similar pattern with the fourth one. Now, there are some
February.
theories online that said these might correspond to specific time codes in Avengers Endgame, or maybe X-Men Days of Future Specific time codes in Avengers Endgame, or maybe X-Men Days of Future Past. Specific scenes pertaining to parts of the time ice, like the moment when Loki shapeshifts into Steve to mock him, or the moment when Banner convinces the Ancient One that they will return the stones from where they took them. But the reality is this is just an editing effect where some characters switch from the release date to the countdown number. That's why Burr is left in there, and the only thing that changes is the number of days remaining in the 12th month. So for the first one, there was 11 months and 24 days left, so that's why 24 is there. For the second, 11 months and 17 days left, that's why the 17 is there. The third,
They have
11
to bring
months
Storm
and 11
back.
days left, etc.
They have
I mean,
to.
I really love that time code theory, but it's probably not the case. So Franklin Richards, Steve Rogers' son, Love, Nathan
I'm like,
Summers, and Toussaint,
Halle Berry
we
was
speculated that Doom is
fire.
gathering these kids
She
as
was so
anchor
fire.
beings, or maybe he just wants these kids for their powers to create battle worlds. But what if they are all a young wave of mutants that he's trying to populate his new world with? We're gonna get more answers in a future trailer. See, here's what I think Avengers Doomsday is gonna do for its trailer timeline throughout this year. I think on Super Bowl Sunday, February 8th, we'll see a Robert Downey Jr. Doctor Doom centric teaser that they have a 30-second version of and a full minute version of. Then the first week of April at CinemaCon, I think we'll see our first official trailer that will be in the
There's
2
so many,
minutes
like,
and
amazing
change
movies coming
range.
out.
Then at Comic-Con in late July, on the eve of Spider-Man Brand New Day, they'll make some exclusive announcement to the attendees at Hall H that maybe will never come out online, but don't you worry, because I guarantee you the post-credit scene of Spider-Man Brand New Day will be something that sets up Doomsday. Then in September, they're gonna re-release Avengers Endgame, and I've theorized that they're gonna include an alternate post-credit scene or something specific to get our butts in theaters to go watch that. Then once we get into October and November, you'll start seeing regular drops and behind-the-scenes
that's kinda
stuff.
cool.
They'll start doing the proper marketing campaign. But I ask of you, what do you think of this crazy theory that Steve and Peggy's son could just be a young Victor? And Marvel sneakily did reveal Doctor Doom in their first ever teaser for this film, nearly 12 months to the day, so that when Agbo goes back to show all of us influencers they invited
crazy.
going, "Aw," at their teaser, we're all gonna be like, oh god, we're doing that to Doctor Doom? New Rockstars has now officially begun our Road to Doomsday rewatch podcast series to catch you all up on the essential